All right, everybody, welcome to the watch list of July 14th. This week should be energetic. I really feel like that. I feel like there's going to be some good price movement this week. I hope I'm not wrong, right? We love trend, but it's all good. We're going to risk manage if it happens to be chop. But all that aside, I want to kind of take us back to last week for a second. 'Cause I feel like there's some good takeaways we could get from last week's price action. Just trying to find profitable, consistent setups. So I want to share with you guys like a few trades that I took on Friday, and I'm talking you through everything. Now, I actually just released a video on my YouTube about it was showing my live trade that I took on NQ, and that was just one of them. But there were some other trades that I took that I'm gonna kind of discuss here, and I feel like a lot of people was hitting me up saying that the video I posted on NQ was very helpful because once again I'm talking through every bit of my analysis on that video, and it's live. The candles are moving, like you see that, like okay, this is what I'm thinking in real action. It's not like in hindsight, but I feel like there's some more things I could speak on. So I'm gonna kind of take us there right now. And so typically you guys have seen me come in here and I always tell you guys I always start with the highest time frames because the higher time frames is where you get the most probable direction or the best trending price trends in the direction of the higher time frame. So what I mean is if the weekly is bullish, anytime that the 5 minute is to the up direction is typically going to be a better move than when the 5 minute is moving to the down direction. And so if you know where the highest time frames are truly heading, you know where the most trending moves in the market will be. Typically, that doesn't mean you can't still, let's say we're in an uptrend on a weekly, that doesn't mean you can't still catch a fire like bearish hourly move or something. I'm just saying that if we're talking probabilities, you would want to be on the side of the highest time frame. And so here on the weekly, you see last week we had, not last week, a couple weeks ago, we had tapped into the weekly BTSMC we were looking at, and it drew price higher. And then, so the weekly, as you can kind of tell, has been ultra bullish. You guys may remember, I know some people are new here, so I say this stuff for new people. You guys may remember, like somewhere in here, me calling the top of NASDAQ rejected right at that level, pretty much to the tick. And then we said, yo, NASDAQ should be bouncing off of this order block. We looked at this order block for NASDAQ to bounce off of to go higher. And ever since then, it's been nothing but super ultra bullish. And then we had a couple more targets. We hit those already. And now you're probably asking yourself like, okay, so what's next? Well, looking at ES, I have higher targets. So coming into the trading day or the week, this week in general, I'm like, because ES has higher targets that it hasn't hit yet, NASDAQ hit all the targets so far, but ES has more targets, and low key, for my options people, SPY and QQQ also have more targets. So I just believe the market has more upside. So I have a bullish bias, plus you can see that we're in a bullish trend. All right, now with that being said, coming down to the daily, you see on Thursday, oh my gosh, Thursday's price action was so crazy. This was such a great day. A lot of money was made on this day. Just the 5 minute time frame. So you see what Thursday was looking like. It definitely blessed us, and everybody got ultra bearish. I could understand that, right? It's easy to get bearish in that type of environment. But as I said on Thursday, I said I think price is targeting this fair value gap. You guys may notice that I didn't tell you this fair value gap, right? Because I said it while it was still inside of it. I didn't say this. Nothing is just said in hindsight. While it was still inside of it, I said, no, we're targeting this one. This is what I think we can go bullish off of. So far, we have a nice reaction to it. We had a little sell-off at like 3:45 p.m. on Friday. So we'll see what comes next. But so far, a lot of money was at least made on the initial bounce. And so remember on Friday, the first thing, this is what Friday looked like heading into that fair value gap. We engineer liquidity into it. So first takeaway that you can remember is if you have a highly probable POI or a highly probable PD array, fair value gap, whatever you want to call it, understand that typically if you notice that they're engineering liquidity into that area, they're engineering it for a reason because they're going to run it out. And what I mean by engineering liquidity is they're baiting people to place stop losses in certain areas. So that will be the upside into the downside. So whenever price is moving like really staggered like this, really rigid, pretty much chop. When price is chopping, that means that there's people betting that once the consolidation is over, we're either going to break to the upside, or some people are also saying once consolidation is over, we're going to break to the downside. And so that's why they go back and forth, and that's what creates chop, as there's a lot of liquidity generated on the top of the chop as well as on the bottom of the chop. So I love to see that when there's a POI right below it. like this. And this is just funny because this is not the first time I've told you guys about price doing this, and you guys see how that happened on Friday. It was a perfect example. What was this candle? The PPI candle. So there was a news event that allowed us to do what? Run out everybody that had stop losses on the downside. They're gone now. They got taken out. But then people with stop losses up here, they feel good, right? Nope. y'all out of here too. We're gonna pack you guys up too. So both sides got liquidated, and that's what we call the AMD, right? You have accumulation, manipulation to one side, distribute to the other. Now, the other way they generate liquidity here is by the fact of, you gotta know that there's all the people who are breakout traders. So when breakout traders noticed that we, took out the lows, what they did was they hopped into sells right away. And if they're hopping into sells, market makers is buying that because they're on the other side of that move, and they're buying it. They're buying what you're selling, and then they're taking it back to the upside. So those people who are, or that would be for the my fault. That would be for the sell stop. So that's people who have stop losses. I just described stop losses. For the breakout traders, let me describe them real quick. What they had was they had limit orders, which at the end of the day is actually it's the same thing because it's still limit sells. So if you people who trade futures know what I'm talking about. So there's still limit sells. So they're still getting into sells, and when they're selling, market makers are buying that, and then you're getting stopped out because you have to go ahead and get out of your move, and because you're taking a loss, and so they're on the other side of your move at all times. And so that's what I mean. That's how the AMD works, and that's why we move to the upside. All right. So with that being said, we have a bullish expectation because we're already expecting upside out of this purple area, being that it's a daily POI or a daily fair value gap. I have a daily target of getting to the most recent highs. Like, let's keep it very simple. We're coming down here so that we can move back up there. That's at least the thought at the time. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I'll tell y'all what I expect to happen this week, but at the time, that's a thought. So I'm expecting bullishness. Now, what do we see out of that area? We have a bullish fair value gap. We had another bullish fair value gap. There's so much writing in here because I'm going to go through the lower time frames with you. My chart never looks this messy. Intraday, I did this last night once again when I was planning this presentation for y'all. So just bear with me with all the noise on the inside of the chart. I'm going to talk about all those POIs in there. But just know that there's two fair value gaps in a row. That's really bullish to see coming out of a daily POI. It's two hourly bullish fair value gaps coming out of the market. I told you guys for daily POIs, like a daily fair value gap, it's a good confirmation to see, a good time frame to see confirmation would be the hourly. 4 hours is cool, but it takes a long time to play out. It might not really be the best. I would say I would use a 4 hour more for like a weekly POI, but for a daily POI, the hourly is solid to look at. So seeing us make 2 hourly bullish fair value gaps, I was like, okay, I like this. So now let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. My fault. It's right here. All right, so that's that. Now coming to the 15, you see what the 15 looked like. Everything was good. So let's take you to this initial play. And I screenshotted this play actually. This is actually in the Discord. I showed you guys my position here. And so we moved to the upside. Everything's looking good. And then we're like what we call spooling. Now, what do I mean by spooling? Spooling is when price is moving ultra aggressively in one direction, like not no real deep pullbacks. Like a lot of people talk to y'all about like discount premium and all that stuff, or in other words, kind of like deeper pullbacks. But you got to kind of understand market condition and market sentiment to know when to expect pullbacks this deeply versus when to expect like really short pullbacks. So based on the way the market was moving, I have an expectation on this first play that we're just looking for like really short-term POIs. We're not looking for a discount retracement. Like I'm not looking for price to come all the way up here and then come down here somewhere, like, and then just to head back to the upside. No, price is spooling right now. So I said 5M spooling busy. So look at the 5M right here. Actually, I should do this so it's easier to see where we at. 5M spooling busy right there. Okay, so let's go right here. So look, notice that the very first, and once again, ignore these POI. This POI, we're gonna use that in a second. So I'm gonna just move it to the side for now. Notice that on the 5-minute time frame, we made a nice move As soon as the market opened, we made a really nice move. Then we retraced. We retraced to what? The closest 5-minute fair value gap to price action, right? The very closest one. But because of the nature of this move, I'm trusting this fair value gap because one, I have higher targets based on the daily, right? And then two, the way that the market is moving is spooling. So right now, I'm trusting this type of fair value gap. Now, just because price could use this doesn't mean I'm getting in as soon as we touch the purple. All right. So now let's say it's a 5-minute POI. So boom. Let's see what time frame you can confirm it with. I like to confirm 5-minute POIs on the 30-second. And so now you guys can see what happened when we came into the purple area. Look at what happens here. You have a SIBI heading into a 5-minute POI. What happens after we touch a 5-minute POI? We invalidate this SIBI, meaning there's a bearish fair value right here. It just got invalidated. That red candle, we closed over it with this second green one. To be honest, I could already tell this is not going to work based on how high we traded into it in the first place. But confirmation is waiting for it to actually close over it, and as it obviously did. And then I was able to get in at 541.75. And once again, the screenshot is in the Discord. This is where I got in right here, 541.75. And so then at this point, price, starts consolidating. But all in all, what is it holding? This busy. And some people in here like, yo, but it wicked under it. Yes. Understand that for fair value gaps, you need bodies to hold the area. And in this case, look how bodies held above 50% of the area. Those are what we call signatures. Those are things that are giving you hints about price. Like, oh yeah, listen back to Torrell, you on the right side of price action, brother. Like you got to make some money. That's what when I see stuff like that, I'm like, oh yeah, I like this. It's going well. So as long as it was holding this fair value gap, I liked what I saw. I would give it room to trade only to the first half of this fair value gap. Only the first half, not the second half. That's where my stop would have been at. So I got in at 541.75 right there. And then what it moved over. My stop loss is slightly below it at this point. Cool, but either way, obviously it moves to the upside. Another thing that you saw on the daily, what time frame is that? I forgot what you're looking at. Maybe the hourly. Remember I was talking to y'all about when price staggers into a POI. Remember I talked about engineering liquidity into a POI, and then typically the move after that is really aggressive. Yeah, that's a telltale sign you gotta have a nice move out of that POI. Do you guys notice that? Do you see how there was no fair value gaps on this move down? It's very nasty, it's very choppy. Came into the area I liked and started creating fair value gaps out of nowhere, quote unquote, out of nowhere, right? So yeah, these are all good signs. I like what I see. I trust this. As we staggered into this, that's why I trusted this area. But either way, I still waited for confirmation, which is watching a potential fair value gap come out. So as it's forming, I get in. My stop loss is if we don't form it, meaning this candle would have came in and touched the high of the first candle. And I'm trying to slow down my speech because I know I'm starting to lose some people, as I know I have different experience levels in here. But my stop loss is based on the creation of the fair value gap. Once we created it, my stop loss moves, my stop loss changes. All right, now we moving. So we ended upside. Obviously, this move went pretty freaking well. All right. And a lot of money was made. So that's the first play. And then okay. So we catch the first play. Where was it? That's taking it up in the head. I sold somewhere around here. So this was what, like 60-some points, however much points it was on NASDAQ. Good move. And then here we have an 1150 to 1210 macro. And what I mean by that, I don't really typically talk about that on like a free Zoom, but what I would say to it, if you could pick it up, is that there's certain time periods in the market where you can expect a change of delivery and price, right? And a lot of times heading into lunch, they try to stop out people who've been profitable thus far in the morning. So if you see here, this is 1150. This whole down move started at 1150. Notice that it ended at 1210, literally 1150 to 1210. And that's something that I've talked to my mentees about. I know for sure my phase 2 members have heard that. And so you guys can see it's not a coincidence. And so getting in position for that is why I was able to catch this move to the downside as well. But am I about to get overly bearish, right? Am I about to get overly bearish? Like that wouldn't make sense to do, because you saw what the higher time frame looking like, right? The higher time frame was super bullish. So now let's look at this. As we make that down move, and this is a takeaway for you, right? This is a takeaway for you. This is why you need to keep your eye on the higher time frame, because if you know what the higher time frame is trading for, every retracement should get bought back up until we hit the higher time frame target. And so remember, in my head at this point, the daily chart is trying to head higher. So I don't really believe in any type of drop off, because the daily is already telling me we're supposed to be moving higher today. And so any drop off like we experienced at 1150, any drop off, I know it's gonna get bought up. So you have to ask yourself, like, all right, boom, I know you're about to get bought up, but I know you're about to get bought up, but like what was I saying? I know you're about to get bought up, but what are you coming down for, right? Like, what is price coming down for? So you start trying to find the POIs. So notice that I said it's the 5-minute bullish OB inside of a 1 hour BTSMC. Let me just make sure I don't need that rectangle, because one thing I hate is noisy charts. Like, I hate noisy charts. This is from the first play, right? I'm pretty sure. So we don't need this no more. We don't need that no more, and we don't need the yellow no more. Thank God. I cannot stand a noisy chart. All right, so now this is a little bit less noisy. And so we hit the 1 hour BTSMC. Now we trying to move up out of that thing. Right, to move up out of that thing. But what time is it? It's lunchtime. So this movement is nasty. And I know I kind of already outlined this play, because this is the play that I did for the live. I already outlined this on my YouTube, so you guys see how this went already. But you know, just further background on the rationale is just like, as we came into this area, I'm weary to get in because it's lunch. Plus the movement wasn't telling me I should get in. When did I get interested? Once I saw us make this nice fair value gap out of it. So now I'm watching a couple of things. I'm like, all right, we made this nice 1 minute fair value gap out, and it's out of a 5-minute POI. And let me zoom out for a second, because I forgot to show y'all. This is the 5-minute bullish OB I'm talking about. And so I know some people is new in here once again, and you've had people incorrectly tell you that an order block is just, you know, the most recent candle, but it's not, right? It would be the consecutive red candles in this scenario. And so now you see, first of all, like, it can't be a coincidence that we reacted right at the 50% of it. So clearly this is how you draw order blocks. It's not a coincidence. Now it did react to the most recent one in this scenario, but I can show you 1,000 where it did not react to the most recent one. It would have reacted on the upper side of this rectangle, and you waiting on this last red candle to get hit, and it never does. In this case, it got hit. Good job. But either way, so I'm watching price in this over rectangle for confirmation. I told y'all I like to look at the 30-second if it's a 5-minute POI, such as a 5-minute OB. But it's lunchtime, and I'm not necessarily even trying to take a trade. Low-keyly, the only reason I took this trade, I don't know if my mentee in here, she know who she is, but she was like, oh, like, we had rejected the 4-hour fair value gap, and like she was thinking like, yo, we probably might go to the downside, or she was at least wondering if we would. And I was like, no, this is a buy the dip scenario, because what is the higher time frame really telling us? So I told her that, I said, yo, the 5-minute bullish OB looks nice. I wasn't even planning on taking a trade, because I ain't gonna lie, I made a good amount of money already on these first moves. The first move I already showed y'all, and the down move was another like 50-point move. So like 60 something, 50 points. Made a lot of money already. But then I was like, you know what, whatever, let me just take this play. And then that's why I recorded it, because I was like, you know, we could like literally learn from this. And then so with this one, we have this 1 minute fair value gap, but we also have a 1 minute OB at the same time. So if you peep, and I'm gonna draw it for you, notice that price, the bodies held this purple area, which is the 1 minute fair value gap. So ultimately, if you're somebody that just wants to enter strictly in the fair value gap, it played out. Like, it played out. You did your thing. If you're somebody that wants to enter on an order block, this is a very nice order block right here, this red candle. And so that's what price reacted to as well. So you're gonna peep how price comes into a 5-minute order block, and then after you get fair value guys, all of a sudden you start seeing the 1 minute order block form and get respected. So as it's pushing out, I'm like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna get it now. I'm gonna see what's up. So that's where y'all see me enter in here somewhere. And what is this? Oh, I wanted to show y'all. This was cool to me. This is real cool to me. Okay, so I need y'all to stay with me. I might lose some people here, but stay with me. Okay, so remember, my bad. Remember this: 5-minute bullish OB, 1-minute bullish OB coming out of that 5-minute. All right, bet. So this is a 1-minute POI, ain't it? And if you're somebody that's like, hey, I'm gonna get in based on this 1-minute order block, you have to ask yourself, what time frame would confirm a 1-minute order block? Well, a 15-second sounds like a solid time frame to confirm a 1-minute POI with. And so in a 15-second, you may notice that what happened after we started creating fair value gaps, right? Prices respected everything bullish in price action. So we had, price touches the 1-minute OB. The 15-second is no fair value gaps yet. All of a sudden, we got our first one. Okay, so you can start trusting this move. Like, yeah, I like this move. All right, so price comes into it, and notice like this is a 5-second, and I'm not saying you got to drop that at a 5. I'm saying this so that you can just understand price a little. Notice what happens here. You have a 5-second fair value gap. Look at the bodies on the 5-second time frame. Look at the bodies on the 5-second time frame. I really could kind of move this up right there. Yep. Y'all can see this is exactly what it's on. It holds it perfectly. 5-second comes to a 5-second fair value gap, moves back to the other side. And so I'm just showing you that like price is fractal. It's like it's you could always scale down to snipe something if you really wanted to. And I just wanted to show you guys that for like just to understand like kind of how the market moves on all throughout all time frames. Everything holds. If you could trade the hourly, you could trade the 5-second. I promise you, it's the same stuff over and over and over and over. You know what I mean? So y'all seen how that trade played out. Y'all seen how that trade had played out on this one. So that's this move, taking it. I took profits here because I had to go to the dentist, but I knew it would move higher. That's why my mentees know, well, my phase 2 mentees know, because I put in the phase 2 chat, not the phase 1 chat. I said, use our method to figure out where price is going next. Our method had price going to right here, this blue area next, which is simultaneously a 15-minute SIBI. And that was the high of the day. Our method had it ended right here. It went up a few ticks higher, rejected at the halfway market at 15-minute SIBI. And then that was the high of the day. Now, I was like, I was not even in the market at this point, right? I was already making my moves to head to the dentist and everything. But, I was able to still catch this play through the yellow line. I knew it would move higher, but you have to ask yourself, why did I know it moved higher? I knew it moved higher because of what? Y'all should be finished my sentence. The higher time frame. So why would I think that the high of the day or the high of this move is just going to simply be the yellow line if the whole point of coming into this 5-minute OB is to take you to a new 5-minute high, And like Spader said in the chat, we call the down move into a 1-hour BTSMC for a fact. So now looking at this move to the downside, it's like, all right, this part I definitely won't say on the free Zoom, but my mentees may know, we know we're about to run the lows right around here. At this point, you're about to run the lows immediately. Up here, it's still speculative, like what can happen next. Once price came right here, it was over. I wish that I was in front of my computer at the time, because this is an easy short. This is a really beautiful play that would have played out. I wish I was there for that, because I would have made even more money right there. But it's cool. And so it's just like you could like really snipe the market up and down if you understand certain signatures, because it gets like low-key easy. Like this move was a really nice move to the downside to end the day, and then that was that. And then kind of here we are. So I said a lot just now. I know that, and I know not everybody is gonna follow that. Actually, let me go back to that. Are there any quick questions before I move on? I know this is on YouTube, so I try not to like go to the questions too often until after the Zoom. But any quick questions before I move on? Y'all could come off mute.
Real.
Yeah, what's up?
I got a question.
Yeah.
I saw on there that you showed an order block. I think it was on the 1 minute, but it was only one candle.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Let me clarify that. Good question. So I'm not saying that OBs can't be one candle. What I'm trying to make the distinction of is the fact that, like, if there's consecutive red candles, that means that, let's say there was 3 of them, all 3 of these would be the order block. It can't get interrupted by a green one. So look at this one, for example. Notice that it's a red candle, there's a green like doji looking candle, and then there's another red candle. That's not valid. Like, no, that means the order block is officially the red one alone. It has to be 3 in a row. So let's go to the 5 minute for a 3 in a row example, or 2 in a row, or 4 in a row, or 50 in a row. I don't care, as long as it's in a row. That's the only time when it's valid. So notice on the 5 minute, there was 4 red candles in a row before you had this impulsive move with more, there's more criteria than just seeing an impulsive move. I just won't speak to it here, but I will be doing an order blocks masterclass very soon. So definitely stay tuned for that, everybody. But, you know, there's more criteria to know whether or not we trust a certain order block or not, besides just saying, hey, an impulsive move came out, or hey, a fair value gap came out of it. Like, no, it's not that simple. There's a little more that would tell me, like, okay, I trust this order block versus that one. And I'll speak about all that in the masterclass. But yes, it has to be consecutive. If there's no consecutive situation, then it's just one. Like, it's cool to just be one. That's okay. But if there's consecutive, don't ignore the other 2 or the other 1 or the other 50. And I hope that's clear. Great question. Great question with that. All right, so cool. I guess I'll move on. Right, everybody, I'll move on. I guess I'm gonna move on. Okay, so let's get it. Oh, by the way, one last thing I wanted to say here. I'm glad I remember this part. On this drop off, if you were to look at ES at the same time, you would notice that ES ran all-time highs at the same time. No, right here, my fault. The drop off from right here started right after ES ran all-time highs. So as we touched our target, ES was running all-time highs, which is the S&P 500. And you'll see that right here, where ES ran, this yellow line is the all-time high. I don't feel like scrolling to the left, but you guys check your charts if you don't believe me. So the yellow line is the all-time high. Look how he ran it. And then simultaneously, that NASDAQ topped out and they both took a tumble. So what you can take from that is, notice that ES made such a fire move, and it made such a fire move that it ran the all-time highs, but NASDAQ was so much lower, and that's a divergence. You have to pay attention when price is doing that. Like, you will want them to be running all-time highs pretty much at the same time. You don't want ES to be at all-time highs and NASDAQ is still, you know, dang near like 50% of this retracement. That's a terrible sign, and that can show that there may be a nice little pullback in the market. And once again, I wish I was still on the chart when that occurred, because that'd be pretty easy to see. All right, but now you guys know. That's why I always say keep an eye on both tickers at all times. Like, I literally trade with them up side by side a lot of the time. If not, I have like 2 different time frames on NASDAQ here, and on my phone, I would be looking at like ES's charts, because I had the trading view app on my phone. So always like look at both tickers at the same time, because that's what we call a divergence, the S&P divergence. All right, so let's keep it moving. I think I'm gonna go right to this tab now. Actually, we starting right here. All right, so we talked about last week a lot. I actually spent a little more time on last week than I wanted to, but I think there was a lot of gems to say. So hopefully y'all find that valuable. Let's talk about what's coming for this upcoming week. And all right, what's the weather report? Tomorrow, 12 o'clock, Jerome Powell speaks. My boy Papa Powell is speaking at 12 again. I know he talked 2 times last week. He's speaking again at 12 tomorrow. And then Tuesday, we got retail sales at 8:30 a.m. That's a pretty decent number. And as inflation continues to tick to the downside, understand that, yes, that sounds like good news, but based on the fact that we're in a high rate environment and that the Fed is pretty much almost trying to move the goalposts and say that 3% may be our new normal, there's a concern that the higher interest rates that we kind of have to keep these high. There's a concern that it could bring us into an inflationary environment. Understand? And so when there's not inflation, I'm sorry guys, I'm gonna say recessionary. Okay, when we have to keep rates high, there's a chance it could bring us into a recessionary environment. And once again, as inflation continues to cool, you almost don't want it to cool too much, because that signals, like I said, recession. And so now, you know, upcoming GDP numbers or certain numbers like retail sales become a little more important, because those things tell us how is the consumer doing in this type of environment? Like, why is inflation starting to tick back? Is it a healthy, pull back on inflation, or is it like, oh, nah, we starting to head to a recession? Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think we head into a recession, but I'm just saying that these numbers have a little more relevance in time periods where we're questioning a recession. And so it'll be like early signs of it. And so retail sales to me at 8:30 on Tuesday does have a little bit of relevance. We already know Powell speaking on Monday. Wednesday, nothing really say, nothing like, nothing is significant on Wednesday. Thursday, nothing really, and Friday. So I kind of expect some decent movements in the beginning of the week, and I hope so. But the rest of the week is not exciting to me. So with that being said, that's the weather report. That's weather report. Now let's get back to the charts. So something that we use for sentiment is DXY, and it's the US dollar. And when DXY is going to the downside, a lot of times that shows that there may be upside for the NASDAQ or the S&P 500. And so if you see here, the DXY has been super bearish, and we've been watching the NASDAQ be super bullish. And so, we talked about, we called this play out, we called this target, the weekly highest body. That was indeed the top. You guys see how we topped out there to the exact tick. Nothing is in hindsight. Check the watch list. We say everything before it happens. So we're going to use this BTSMC to take us to this yellow line. That was the top of the move. Cool. Then we targeted, I deleted it now, but we had the weekly lowest body. We overshot that. We didn't just stop there. This time we moved past it. And that's good for me. I like to see that, because I'm like, okay, finally there's a chance we could break this range. All right. And so I'm looking to see if we could run the yellow line right now. I would love to see today's candle, the one that's forming right now. I would love to see this flip red and take out this yellow line. I don't really want to see it trade back up into this SIBI, but if it does, cool. It needs to hold the lower half of this, ideally, as in bodies. I would like to see bodies hold the lower half of this if we're going to run out this yellow line. If we get a body closure above that 50% of this daily bearish fair value gap, if we get a body closure above that, we can have a deeper retracement back to this range, and I would not want to see that. And so to continue this bullish move that I would like to see in NASDAQ, I need DXY to either flip red right now or hold the lower half of that daily SIBI. All right. And then we'll run out these lows down here that we engineered. We engineered these. There's a lot of sell side liquidity down here. There's a whole liquidity pool down there. We want to take that out. All right. So that's that. Now, something else we use is the 2-year. So we use the 2-year, and last week's plan on the 2-year was what? We said we want price to come into this BTSMC, and then we're going to take it into this weekly VI. And you see that that's where we topped out, right at that weekly VI. So once again, everything is, we call it before it happens here. That's what we do at BTSMC. And that's exactly how it delivered. And now while it delivered, it left a bullish fair value gap right here. Like I said, ideally, I want this to remain open. I don't want price coming down into that. Now, once again, I drew this yesterday. So what's going on here? What did I have here? So there's a 4-hour BTSMC here. It looks like we actually opened up lower. So we actually opened up under that 4-hour BTSMC. So this is no longer relevant. But there is one right here, right? So we opened up right at this one. And you can see that, wow, that's funny. Look, price opened up, touched the 50% of this BTSMC, and it's moving higher, the 50% of this one. So we'll watch that. Like I said, I don't want it to come down to the bottom daily one. I don't want that. I would like to see if we could just, I hope this is the low of the day, literally. Like, I hope it doesn't go under this, because that would show me that we want more upside. And I do believe that we want more upside on the 2-year bonds. I do feel like bonds are going to start moving pretty aggressively to the upside. You notice I said monthly SIBI target. There's a fair value gap on the monthly that I think price wants to target right now. And that doesn't mean that I think when we get there, we're going to, go bearish. And I want you guys to get out of the mindset that just because it's a quote unquote bearish fair value gap, it doesn't mean that you expect price to go bearish off of it. Like, please, you can't just be validating every fair value gap on your chart. And that's why you struggle with fair value gaps, because you think every fair value gap has relevance. Like, no, sometimes I just use them simply as targets. And that's what I'm doing here. Like, I would price to come here, but guess what? I think it's most likely going to go higher than that. And so I'm looking for that out of the 2-year, which would be a pretty massive run. You already see that we consolidated here for a while. And then out of nowhere, and then we started respecting bullish tools. Bullish fair value gap, pop out. Bullish fair value gap, pop out. bullish fair value gap pop out. We made another one. I don't even want to touch this one. I just want us to start skyrocketing, and we finally leaving this consolidation. I want us to start moving higher, and that will be really bullish for markets. And once again, I do have upside targets on ES, SPY, and QQQ. So I don't feel like the bullish run that's in the market right now is over. I really don't think it's over, but we'll see. So yeah, weekly and monthly tell me we coming up here next. So I'm trusting in things. I'm trusting in bullish PD arrays or bullish tools that exist below the weekly, such as a daily or a 4-hour or an hourly order block, fair value gap, or anything else that you use for bullishness. All right, so that's that. So DXY, if it could flip red or use the lower half of that SIBI, that's good. I expect downside. 2-year, I'm expecting more upside. So what do you guys think I'm expecting out of NASDAQ and S&P? I think that they're going to move to the upside as well. We just got to see. Certain things have to hold, and we'll get to that chart in a second. But while I'm down here on this side of my watch list, I'm a breeze over these Forex tickets right quick, because I do have a Forex audience a little bit. And for the Forex audience, like I said, this on Australian dollar, this weekly BTSMC and VI, I would love to see this remain open. I don't want price to come back down to this. As we break this consolidation, that first fair value gap, I don't like when price comes back into it. I want us to move higher, and I'm targeting the highs of this weekly right here. The monthly, you can see that on the monthly chart, price that came down, bodies respected this monthly fair value gap, and now it's moving to the upside. So I'm looking to see price continue that move, and I'm targeting that yellow line, and then the yellow line above it, of course, as well. So if we could leave this open, I like that. If we do happen to come back into the weekly bullish fair value gap that we created, then we have to watch it, right? We need to see if price confirms in there. If price could come into it, just maybe tap it, come into it a little bit, and then you start seeing like daily fair value gaps or hourlies or 4 hours coming out of that area. That's a good sign, but we really got to watch it in here. But anywhere above here, I like that. All right, so that's that. Euro, we in this weekly BTSMC. This is a very probable weekly BTSMC for me. I do believe price wants to use this to go back to the upside here on this is Euro JPY. This is Euro JPY, my bad. But either way, this is the weekly BTSMC. I think we want to use this to move higher. If not, then I'll be watching this bullish order block. Yes, technically I should be highlighting both of them, but for a reason that I won't discuss right now, I'm only highlighting one of them. Yes, by definition, it's both of them, right? In this scenario, I'm only really eyeing the bottom one. And if you come to the order block masterclass, you'll see, I'll tell you guys why. In this scenario, I would only be highlighting the bottom one. All right, now, either way, we may use this to move higher. All right, boom, Euro USD, same thing, expected more upside on that. What happened? We got down so far. So I was gonna watch this area to see if we could use this to maybe go higher. We gapped under it. And so now I want to see if price could lose this. Like, are we gonna lose this fair value gap on the 4 hour, or are we gonna maintain it? Because losing this 4 hour one would be a pretty bad sign. I wouldn't want to see that. Like, I'm still bullish on it as long as it like still holds this area. I'm still bullish on it to move to the upside. So that's what I'll watch on Euro USD. And then I think the last one, or maybe not. Either way, British pound, oh my gosh, they really over delivered for us. Golly, we've been sniping this one. We've been sniping this one since this daily BTSMC played out really well. Really well. And then now the important BTSMC that you don't want to lose if you're a bull, the important BTSMC you don't want to lose is this daily BTSMC right here. We gotta still hold this for upside. So if price happens to come down this low on British pound, you will want to hold this daily bullish fair value gap to take you back higher. If it comes under it, you have a chance with this red candle, right? But it's not looking too high. I ain't gonna lie, right? So if you're bullish on British pound, you really want to see price either literally never come to this fair value gap, or use it to move higher and complete this run, because we rejected at the 50% of this monthly RB already. We rejected right at the 50% of it, like to the tick. And so, you really got to watch price right here. Can we get a retracement? Yes, but it better get bought back up. So close watch on that. And if it gets bought back up, by the way, I'll target the monthly highs. All right, the monthly highs on British pound, USD CHF. That's when I was looking to see some more downside. Had a pretty bullish start so far today. That's not really a good sign for bears on this ticker. I kind of would only believe in this move to the upside a little bit more if, I mean, to be honest, where it sits right now, I could definitely see it potentially coming to these highs next, but I'll probably stay away from this ticker. I no longer like it based on how it's moving now. I want to see if it makes a BTSMC here, then you could definitely see some moves higher, and I would probably target the half point of that 4 hour wick. But if there's no fair value gap that comes out of this up move, I'll probably stay out of the bullish side of it. I might wait for it to turn back around and come bearish again. And last but not least on Forex, and then we're gonna get right back to NASDAQ and all that, is USD JPY. So with this ticker here, I believe I was looking for more I'm looking for more downside on this. I don't want price to come back to this bearish fair value gap, but if it happens to, it needs to hold the lower half of it. But otherwise, I'm targeting these lows down here on USD JPY. I'm looking for price to come to those lows, and that will be it. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's that. All right, so let's go ahead and keep it moving. Let's go back to NASDAQ, man. My favorite. So once again, y'all know, been looking at, price using this BTSMC to move higher. Still interested in that. And as price had moved out of that area, I forgot to do Bitcoin. Oh my gosh, I'll do Bitcoin after. So as price moved out of that daily I thought I said daily Bitcoin. What's up with me, y'all? As price moved out of that daily BTSMC, it created a 4 hour BTSMC. This 4 hour BTSMC is really important for us right now. It's a big deal. We really need to react to that. We don't want to see price close under this 4 hour BTSMC if we want more upside. That's just a terrible sign. All right, so I'm very interested to see how price holds this area for the next upcoming hours in the market. Once again, Jerome Powell speaks at 12, so maybe price could consolidate here until then, or maybe we move out of this in London. But we definitely want to watch that area. This 4 hour BTSMC is very, very important for us. And yeah, if it comes back above the highs that it just made when we open up in the market, I think that's a pretty decent sign. Because if we were, I always try to view the market from both sides, and I want you to always do the same thing. Like, always ask yourself, like, if I was bullish, what would I want to see? And if I was bearish, what would I want to see if I was bearish? And so then you kind of play, it's almost like you're playing against yourself. And so if I was bearish, right? If I was bearish on this ticker, I would be watching this bearish fair value gap. And I would like the fact that we reacted at the lower half of it. But if I see that, I would want to see shortly after us starting to make more bearish fair value gaps, right? I wouldn't like this. I wouldn't like the fact that this hourly candle is kind of consolidating right here, and it has the potential to turn green and come back above the highs that we just made. So coming back above, I'll be like, dang, that's not a good sign. I will start to feel like I'm about to get stopped out. And so that's kind of how I see it. That's why I say, like, if we come back above these highs, it's not really a good sign for bearish people, and it's actually a pretty good sign for bullish people, because that means we're also simultaneously using the 4 hour BTSMC, right? I hope y'all follow it. All right, so, but once again, it could consolidate here, but I would love to see if we could use this 4 hour fair value gap to take us higher. If we cross over the highs that we made on Friday, I think we're super going to continue at that point. Not to jinx it, but I definitely feel that if we break over these highs, we should be clear for all-time highs as the next target. So everything kind of depends on this BTSMC right now to me. Now let's speak bearishly. If it closes under this BTSMC, I would be targeting the lows that we made on Friday. I would still watch to see if it's just doing something where it's revisiting this BTSMC for whatever reason. It could consolidate and move back higher. I've seen that happen too. But I would at least target those lows. You may see a little bit of turbulence inside of this red wick. You might see a little turbulence here, but ultimately it'll most likely come back below and run that red wick. All right, so that's a bearish plan, but y'all know I'm bullish though. As long as we hold in this BTSMC, I'm actually bullish. Now heading into ES, and by the way, what I say earlier, if it's a daily POI such as a daily BTSMC, my initial target is the highs that we just came from. All right, so boom, now let's head to ES. Like I said on Friday, I sent the screenshot on Friday. I said eyes are right here. We're still looking for ES to go to 5761.50, a target that I gave y'all since May 15th. All right, so it's been 2 months and we've been working our way there. May 15th was all the way back here. We've been working our way to this target. We're so close to it. My eyes are still on that target. All right, so I do have a bullish bias on the market until we hit that at least. At least. So, but one thing I don't like to see is what ES did, which is running all-time highs, even if it's by a tick like that. I don't like the fact that ES ran all-time highs and didn't continue and then came down the way that it did. All of that stuff is bad signs. And even so far today, you can see that it's had a pretty bearish start, rejecting in here, coming on down. So it's just like NASDAQ. I'm watching not only the fair value gap that it's currently in, but I'm also watching the 4-hour fair value gap right below. I hope price don't even come here. I really hope it never even comes here. But if it does, just like NASDAQ, we need this to hold. You really need this to hold. You want to see that. If not, kind of the same plan. I'll probably target the lows. And then, I'll probably update the chat about a bearish plan. Right now, staying bullish until further notice. All right, so that's that. Now, YM did his thing. YM finally broke the nastiness it's been doing. Finally closed over the daily SIBI. And so I think all-time high should be next for YM, which is the Dow Jones. And you see there's a 4-hour BTSMC below that if price does want to, oh no, that's a 1-hour BTSMC. Hold up. Friday, yep. Okay, so Friday we tapped to that 1-hour BTSMC. We got a little pop to start, but it's looking weak right now. So we want to see what we could do with this 1-hour BTSMC here coming out of this consolidation. All right, now if it closes on this 1-hour BTSMC, it may find its way back into this back under this consolidation, which I really wouldn't want to see. So they're all kind of in critical spots for me, where they're right next to these fair value gaps that'll tell us a lot. That's the Dow. Now the Russell really got nice for us. Remember I told y'all to stay away from the Russell because we're not gonna trade this. Wait until it shows you a level of energy. Well, it showed itself last week. It finally broke. And like I said here, we do not engineer liquidity for no reason. And what I mean by engineering liquidity, I already explained it. But remember, this is not how price drops. If price is truly bearish, it's not going to drop like this. So it's literally just a matter of waiting for price to actually pop out. Because if it was truly bearish, bro, it's not going to look like that. I'm gonna be real with y'all. That's not how price delivers to the downside. So when you see us take out, when did this downtrend start? May 15th, when I was giving the NASDAQ call outs. It started May 15th. So for the past 2 months, it took 2 months to drop this much. And it took 3 days to kill that entire price range that it took 2 months to develop. You see what I'm saying? That's not how price drops. And that's why we trade for liquidity, because liquidity, when you trade for that, you get the best moves in the market. You know what I mean? You catch the real moves in the market. So I didn't trade the Russell, but this is an example for you to see. This is why we trade liquidity, because you catch moves like these versus trying to play nastiness like this. All right, so now that they killed out this liquidity, I'm just looking for a continuation here. Looking for a continuation with that. And yeah, I mean, I have these targets 2220.7 and 2288.9. Those are 2 targets I have to the upside on the Russell that I would like to see them go ahead and get. But everything got to look good over these highs. I don't want us to wick the highs and come back in, right? You want to see some nice continuation over those highs. And ideally, the weekly time frame could give you a weekly bullish fair value gap right here. Ideally, right? That would be lovely if we could see that. So I don't want us to trade too much to the downside on the Russell. I kind of want us to stay real bullish. And remember that we're coming off of this monthly BTSMC. That's what we're coming off of. When price made this consolidation, the low of the consolidation was what? The monthly BTSMC. That's all they wanted. And it's just been pretty nasty ever since, but maybe it's finally about to start that up move coming out of that monthly BTSMC. So I'm just looking for continuation on the Russell, but we'll see, because the Russell will be ranging, as y'all can see, it's been ranging since 2022. So you gotta really be careful trading the Russell anytime it's near that high. Copper, what did I see on copper? What I have labeled here. So let's say that says, let's see, monthly BTSMC. Oh, the purple area is a monthly BTSMC, and okay. All right, so on the weekly chart, we have a weekly VI right here. Prices reacting to weekly VI, but simultaneously, prices are reacting to the monthly bullish fair value gap. And so being that we're coming off a monthly bullish fair value gap, I'm looking for monthly previous highs. And so I'm looking to see if copper could take his way back to the upside. I have some short-term targets, which will be price running, this yellow line, but ultimately I wanted to get to 4.8870. But either way, what I'm watching here on copper is this 4-hour BTSMC that we currently traded in. So this is what I had drawn for copper when I was doing my watch list. I want to see how we reacted here. This is a very important BTSMC for me, because we really shouldn't invalidate this if we're indeed about to make an up move. Like, we're so close to this yellow line. This BTSMC is important for us. I don't want to see us close under that on a 4-hour time frame. If we close under that, then I'm not saying I'm bearish, but I'm no longer bullish. And please understand the distinction. So let's go to oil here. Let's go to oil. On oil, I'm looking to see oil continue higher, I believe, if I remember correctly. I was watching this POR on the 4-hour, this 4-hour RB. We haven't touched it, which is good. I'm glad for that. We haven't touched it yet. Maybe we will. But I want to see what we do in this area. If we close under that, I would seek for lower prices. Let me get the 4-hour. If we close under this red area, which is basically the wicks, right? If we close under these wicks, then I would look to see price head to these lows. If you hold the wicks, then I would look to see price take the highs that we just came from. Really simple. Under these wicks, I'm looking for the lows. If we use these wicks and pop out of it with 15-minute bullish fair value gaps, coming in here, 15-minute bullish fair value gaps that's getting respected, then I will be targeting the previous highs. All right, so that's me for CL this week. Gold, we were looking for this 4-hour BTSMC to take us higher. It worked really well at first. Now you see here it's starting to come back down. I don't like the fact that it's coming back down, but I'm not bearish either. I just don't like how it's moving right now. So you got to be careful in this little area here on gold. Looks like it came just about to the highest body, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm not like sold on downside on gold until we lose this 4-hour BTSMC. As long as we holding this 4-hour BTSMC, I like gold with this continued move to all-time highs. So, I'll be watching gold this week. Silver, it's not really, I don't think I want to say nothing much on silver for real. SPY. All right, options, people. So for SPY, once again, we had this target here at 611.85. And so I got to pour my apple juice. Anybody who know me, my mentees know I'll be drinking apple juice when I do these Zooms. I drink my apple juice, man. All right, so we got SPY here. I'm looking for upside. Does that mean it has to happen today? Absolutely not. That's 611. We have a lot of room before we get there. I just believe that price is going to end up hitting that in the, in the long term. All right, so on SPY, on this 4-hour, this is what I had put in the chat. When Thursday was ultra bearish, I said I think we're going to pop out of this 4-hour bullish order block. Notice that we did pop out of that bullish order block, made new highs, and then you saw it on ES, but after you made those new highs, we started to come back down. All right, now that we came back down here on SPY, what I'm looking at, this hourly fair value gap, very important hourly fair value gap for us, very important one for us here on SPY for upside in the short term. So we're gonna look at this area for upside in the short term, and we'll see where it wants to take us. Let's go to QQQ. Let me write a note to myself too real quick. Sorry, I just had to write a note to myself. On QQQ, we have daily BTSMC. That's what we reacted to, just like on NASDAQ. And I'm looking to see if price can hold this hourly BTSMC. So we close the day in this hourly BTSMC. I would like to see as a gap up. If we could gap up out of that, that would be lovely. But ultimately, I would see if we could hold this. If we don't hold this, price will most likely be coming back to the daily one. And what I want you to look for is, are we going to do this move? Are we going to do this? Sweep these lows, but still use the daily BTSMC to move higher. Very possible. Very possible. All right. So if not, if we close under that daily BTSMC, then let's go for the downside plan. Close it under there. You really need to watch this BTSMC below it. I'm not a fan of it, but I understand it does have relevance. So there's a reason I've been telling y'all about this one. That's because I don't think price wants to use this one. But if price happens to go down there, you can't ignore it because it does have relevance. And so you need to watch it and look for hourly reaction, look for hourly confirmation. But After this, we're definitely going to these lows. Not to jinx it, but after this, those lows become a lot more probable. All right, so I will watch this area, but those lows become probable. But until we in those areas right now, once again, y'all know I have a bullish expectation. And so the first test is right here, this hourly fair value gap. The second test is to see, are we going to sweep these lows to still push higher? And then ultimately after that, I'll be, y'all just heard the whole plan. Just press rewind on the video. All right, so that. Apple. This was the plan we made on Thursday. I never move my arrows. I keep them in the same place on purpose. We want a price to come to this 4-hour bullish continuation OB and pop back out to take us to the 235 target that we had since price was down here. Since price was down here, I told you guys I want Apple to come to first at 219. It came there and then it retraced. And then the second target I gave you that day was also for price to come to 235. And so we're so close to that 235 on Apple. And I really hope that we could get there because I'm still in my Apple swing calls. And so we made a nice pop. And once again, notice that I have upside targets. So why do you think I trusted this 4-hour continuation OB? Because I have an upside target. So I'm looking at bullish POIs until further notice. And so that's why I'm trusted in that. And so same thing. This hourly BTSMC is another bullish POI. So I'm trusting in that until further notice. And if this don't work, I'll look at the same thing I was looking at on NASDAQ. Maybe we sweeping or go higher. We'll see. It's a lot that got to be said. All right, so let me try to fly through these now. On Boyle, we got the downside we wanted last week. Last week we wanted to see some downside on Boyle. Friday it popped up a little bit. That's cool. That's how you create a weekly red candle. And for further explanations on that, that's what I mean by that's how you create a weekly red candle. So if you're expecting a red candle, like I told y'all, I was expecting a red candle on Boyle. You can't be surprised when Monday / potentially Tuesday morning, especially, is bullish, because that's how you get the top wick on this weekly. How do you think this top wick came in the market? It didn't come on Friday. That wouldn't make sense, right? This top wick most likely would come out of a Monday or a Tuesday. And so if you see Monday's candle, which is this green one in the middle, is a doji, and you see what Tuesday looked like, a lot of times, and I haven't looked at this on the lower time frames, so I'm about to look at it right now. A lot of times that reversal on Tuesday tends to come in the afternoon or in the PM session. And so let's see if that happened here, because it'll be a good example for y'all to see. I mean, we gapped up that day on Tuesday for surely. We consolidated, but the drop off happened when? At 1:30. What time does the PM session start? At 1:30. So this is kind of what I mean. Like the reversal or the actual drop happened on Tuesday afternoon. So you shouldn't be surprised necessarily at the up move to start the week. If you have a bearish bias heading into the week, it shouldn't surprise you. It's kind of like NASDAQ right now, right? Like NASDAQ, I would like to see upside. I'm somewhat expecting a green candle this week. And so, even seeing initial bearishness doesn't really surprise me, because I understand that's how you make the bottom wick for a green weekly candle. So I'm not really surprised there. And then speaking to Friday, how do you get the bottom wick? That would take Friday retracing back into the range. So let's look at the weekly again. How do you get the bottom wick on this weekly candle? That's Friday retracing back into the range. All right, next thing, then when you look at the weekly, you're like, oh look, the weekly candle's red and it has a wick on both sides. Yeah, just like all these other red candles, they have wicks on both sides. That's typically how it is. How many weekly candles do you see not have a wick on both sides of it? It's very rare. I think there's one right here. Those things are very rare. So yeah, I'm expecting continuation, whatever. Still looking for that 6.22. I don't want to see this be a sweep though. So notice that we had lows right here. It's not really a good sign that price did this. It's not really a good sign. So it needs to reject right away. Because if it doesn't reject right away, right? If it doesn't reject this area right away, then it's probably going to make a deeper retracement. So it kind of has to reject right here if we want to see further downside on Boyle. All right. Carnival, man, I love this because I got in at the bottom on this thing. We were targeting this. You remember when on the watch list? Notice this green candle is a Friday candle up here. That means that the watch list is on what? Sundays. So when price is here, I said I want price to come to this purple area, and if it comes to this purple area and I see what I like, I'm gonna try to swing it back to the upside. I set my alerts. It hit the purple area. It came right to the 50% of that bullish fair value gap on a daily chart. You can see the hourly started to give me the confirmations I like. Right, you've seen the hourly create a gap, a fair value gap. All these, everything is looking good. These things are getting respected, all of that. And so I like what I was seeing, and it's continuing to move. And we'll see what comes next. I want to see upside right away. I don't really want us to lose kind of the general area that we're in right now. I don't really want us to lose this area right now. Ideally, if we're going to continue to run upside. So Carnival has to stay bullish, but same targets I gave y'all before, I'm still looking for those to hit. Initially, it would just be the weekly highs. If you want to be safe, if you want to be risky, or leave runners for this, there's definitely room to come all the way up here to $31, and that would be a huge move. And after price consolidates, a lot of the time it moves really aggressively, right? So we've been consolidating here for many months, going back to summer 2023. We've been consolidating here. So if we do get the pop out that I'm looking for, which is to pop over these highs, it could actually really blast off. And when you look at the engineered liquidity, it could blast off aggressively to take out that whole area. And that's why I say Carnival has potential. I'm asking for a lot, though. I know I'm asking for a lot. Like that's a huge move on that stock. So we'll see. We'll take it day by day. But so far it's going well. Nothing to talk about on Coinbase. Yeah, 2023. I got shout out my Jamaicans here. So Costco is looking interested in me here on his weekly BTSMC. On his weekly BTSMC for Costco is looking real interesting, my people. I would like to see price coming in here and use it to go higher. I would like to see price coming to this weekly BTSMC on Costco and use it to go higher. If it happens to close under this, I'll be watching the monthly bullish OB under it. But I don't think it's going to come to this monthly bullish OB. I really feel like Costco is going to use this weekly BTSMC. And once again, if it's a weekly POI, you will want the 4 hour to confirm or the daily to confirm. Either one of those. All right. So that's that. And like Costco, by the way, if Costco comes back to this big red candle, that's not a good sign. You don't want Costco to come. I know you're like, oh, that's a bearish fair value gap. I don't care about none of that. I think that if Costco comes here, it's not really a good sign. If it taps the purple first, is what I mean. Like if it taps the purple first, then comes back here, that's if I was a bear, I wouldn't like that. Okay. And let me explain why I'm saying that. I'm saying that because, okay, this is a POI. This is a place that prices go bullish from the higher time frame, the weekly, right? Notice that this is a 4 hour bearish fair value gap. Just from the 4 hour, that's it. So this is the smaller time frame. This is the higher time frame POI. Okay, keep that in mind. Now, look at these lows. All these lows right here, this is a sell side pool. There's a whole lot of liquidity down here. So what did I say about when they engineer liquidity into a POI? That's like a lot of times you can kind of see, that's like a telltale sign that they're going to use that POI. So that's kind of how I look at Costco. Like they engineer all this sell side. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them sweep it, still hold this POI, and then move to the upside. And that's what I'm trying to say. So like, if we end up coming back to this red candle, that means we obviously move to the upside, right? So that's my point there. And but if we're truly bearish, when we run liquidity, we're supposed to run it really aggressively, right? And that's why I say that. So if we're truly bearish, we would just simply drop off hard. There's no reason to come back here to do that. There's no reason to do that. So I hope y'all catch my drift on that. I notice I'm saying a lot more on these free Zooms. My mentees probably mad as heck at me, like, yo, bro, you talking too much. I was saying, yo, free people, what's up, son? I'm telling y'all a lot of stuff. It's crazy. I can say so much more. Like, I'm also holding back a heck of a lot of stuff too. A whole lot of stuff. But what I'm saying, I think should still be able to definitely give value to y'all. So monthly bullish OB here on CRM, Salesforce. Let us live. Thanks. Now I got y'all. So we got a monthly bullish OB. It's reacting to it pretty solidly right now. If you look at the weekly chart, the weekly, there's a bullish fair value over here on the weekly that we tapped into. This is a very important area for CRM. This is going to tell you whether or not they're going to run all-time highs or not. Because coming out of the monthly bullish OB and then using this and respecting it like that would be like, oh, sentiment has shifted. Now, if it disrespects it, it's telling you, oh, no, we still bearish. You know what I mean? So that's why I say, like, everything is dependent on this weekly BTSMC. And what I noticed is, so far, It came into a highly probable daily BTSMC and it's consolidating. I bet. So like the 4 hour, I'm like, all right, it's not ready yet. It's not ready yet. It hasn't created any 4 hour bullish fair value gaps or any, well, I guess we have an hourly one right here. So, now you're starting to see hourlies. That's a good sign if you're bullish. That's a good sign if you're bullish. But what I would say is, what is the lesson we just learned like 20 minutes ago? You don't want to, you want to look at the market from a bullish perspective and a bearish perspective. So I've been talking about bullishly. If I was a bear and I saw this, that we dropped off really hard like this, and then notice we came into a bullish fair value gap, I'm like, we can have some turbulence here. All right, cool. You know what? If we do retrace, I would personally want to see price either hold this VR right here or hold this red candle to send us back to the downside. That's what I would want to see if I was truly a bearish person. And when we do that, we're supposed to like come into it and reject like pretty hard right away. You don't want to see price come into a area you want and then consolidate. That's not like, a lot of the time, bro, that's not a good sign. And so that's why I say if I was bearish here, I wouldn't really like what I'm seeing. I'm like, why are we consolidating? And then we pushed up. You see this big green candle? That's like, this is just not good, bro. Like, so when I view it from the bearish perspective, I'm like, it don't seem bearish to me. But still let it confirm, let it marinate, let it close above this red area. But if it could do that, if it closes above the area I was highlighting, it could definitely see its way much, much higher. And I hope you guys remember the point of these classes is like, I'm trying to teach y'all through the watch list. Like there's a double benefit. Yeah, you're looking at setups that I kind of like, but you're also hopefully getting the rationale so that when you're building your own watch list, you keep certain things in mind. And I want y'all to peep how I be scanning time frames. I'm not just, the 5 minute looks like, no, notice I'm on the monthly, I come all the way down. I'm saying, hey, if the daily is gonna hold, we want to see the hourly do this. Oh, there's an hourly area here, cool. This confirms the daily, boom, boom. Everything is in cohesion. And it gives you an overall story on price. So you have to use all these time frames. Disney, I'm still expecting more downside. I don't like how it's necessarily moving right here. It's taking a long time to drop off, but I would like to see Disney get pretty energetic. Like if Disney doesn't get energetic to the downside this week, it's not gonna, I'm not gonna like that for Disney downside. All right, so what else? Not that one. Home Depot. I think Home Depot had looked all right to me. I need another sip of apple juice. Hold on. I told you I had a lot to say today. All right, so boom. Home Depot. It had come into, first and foremost, mad long ago, we played this down move on Home Depot into the monthly BTSMC. So do you guys see why I made this our target? I made this our target because this BTSMC could take us back to the upside. So luckily, when I called this out, we took anybody that was paying attention to the watch list should have taken profits in the BTSMC because ever since then, it's been consolidating and we're trying to see if it could pop out. So that same monthly BTSMC we had targeted, it's sending price back to the upside. Now come to the weekly consolidation, right? Weekly is not looking too hot, but you could say technically we respected a weekly bullish fair value gap, right? We respected a weekly bullish fair value. And as we're respecting that thing, the daily out of that area looks really nice, don't it? So we're respecting a weekly bullish fair value gap and making super nice daily moves to the upside. Real energetic. So I kind of like that for some continuation on Home Depot. I kind of like that. All right, now what does this say? 4 hour, boom. So now, based on the fact that we just cleared these highs right here, I don't really want to see us come deeply back into this range, right? Wouldn't that look like a sweep to you? I bet. So what would I be looking at for any retracements? The most recent bullish tool I have in price action. So do you guys see why I'm highlighting this BTSMC now? That's why I'm eyeing this, because I don't want price coming down here at all, actually. If price is going to retrace, it needs to retrace to just this recent bullish POI, and I want this to help us continue to the upside because the weekly and the monthly tell me that we should be able to move higher on Home Depot. So on Home Depot, that is why my analysis is to use this 4 hour fair value gap to take us, much higher, and most likely to the monthly highs or monthly fair value gap should take us to monthly highs. Monthly fair value gap to monthly highs. And you're looking at this bearish fair value gap right here, most likely, because you try to pay attention to every fair value gap in the market. And I'm trying to get you guys out of that habit to stop focusing on every fair value gap in the market, because most of them are irrelevant. Most fair value gaps are irrelevant. And you need to get more knowledge on how to use fair value gaps the right way. And that's why I suggest you guys join a mentorship, because I go heavily in depth on fair value gaps, a big focus in mentorship. It will severely help your trading. Stop saying fair value gaps don't work or they're not accurate. No, you don't know how to use them. That's why you say the things you say. And that's fine. We all start somewhere. I'm just making y'all know, like, no, they're extremely, extremely, extremely useful if you know what you're doing. But if you learn it from the wrong people, you're gonna get killed trying to trade fair value, like destroyed. So this one right here on the, I don't even know what this ticker is, to be honest. It's just on my watch list, and I like the setup to the downside. I think they want to come to this based on the monthly time frame. I feel like they want to make a move to run these lows, and so the monthly tells me downside. When it comes to the weekly, therefore, what I'm gonna trust: weekly bearish tools and price action, such as a weekly bearish fair value gap. So notice that we consolidated here, and right above the consolidation, and post-mod, one of my mentees who works extremely hard, said fair value gap signatures help my trading the most. Thank you for saying that. Like, he's a living example of that. Like, the fair value gap signatures that we talk about make all the difference, and that is my bread and butter in my trading as well. Made the biggest difference in my trading career. So above the consolidation existed a bearish fair value gap. So we consolidated, yeah, tough place to trade. We came in here. So what I'm looking for is, I wonder if this is going to be an accumulation, manipulation, distribution back to the downside. That's what I'm wondering. And so I'm watching for that on this ticker. If we could reject this area really hard, I would love that. So now, if you notice this ticker come back to this green candle, I really got to extend it here. It's just so much that I would need to teach about why I'm extending it there. But if it comes to this area and it doesn't hold the upper half of it, then I'm expecting a big move to the downside to my 140 target. So I almost want to set an alert almost at 155, because if it rejects this area and it finds its way to even just down here around 155, what chances are the next destination is not only to run out these lows, but to aggressively run out those lows and find its way down to the 140 target. All right, that's the only delivery I want to see. Now, bullish, I'm not even playing this bullishly. I don't want it bullishly at all. So literally the only setup I would take is what I described. This, if it doesn't do that, guess what I'm doing? Not trading that ticker. It's just that simple. Bernie said, do you look at other stocks in the same sector or ETF to confirm bias? When I focus on options, yes, and I should do that more, because I think that's a great thing I used to do when I was strictly an option trader. Now that I really be on futures, I almost lazily trade my options. But low key lately, I've been super profitable with options, more than I was before. Almost everything I've been doing in options been hitting. I don't really even take losses in options, and it's funny because I trade it lazily. I'm when you care too much, is that when you make mistakes? So I feel like lately I just trying to trade options just cause, and it's been hitting crazy. But when I'm being responsible, it's always good to check the ETF of that sector. So you said this is a steel stock. All right, so you will want to check that type of sector and see the tickers that represent that sector and see if they confirm, let's say a bearish analysis, to that ticker be bearish. And if they're not in alignment, then I think you should be cautious. You should be cautious. But when they are in alignment, oh yeah, you got something cooking up for a fact. And so you said SLX. So SLX is something that they use for this, that I can use for this. So let's look at that live real quick. SLX. So on a monthly time frame, yeah, I would be careful here. I don't like the fact that I think we're gonna come back lower, right? But it's not confirmed yet, because we're still holding this monthly BTSMC. But you see how it closed under the 50% of that? I think this green move is a fake move to the upside. I feel like that. But it's not enough confirmation for me to say that, And one of my reasons for saying that is the fact that we had already, if you're looking closely, we had already come into it, pushed higher, came to the highest body, and then we came back into it. Then we came higher. Then we came back and closed under the 50%, and even more below it too. We wicked under it, and so to me, I just feel like this fair value gap is not really strong. It's just consolidating, so it's just a hard thing to catch. But until it loses this busy, it's hard for me to get ultra bearish on this ETF right here. So what I would want to see ideally is if we could reject this weekly SIBI. If we could reject this weekly SIBI right here, then I would really like, then that would give me some confluence to the downside. So I need this thing to kind of like turn around pretty much right away, and like close it under these red candles, for example. If we close on these red candles, it's gonna end up making a move under these greens. So just like Nucor, the sticker, the ticker, not sticker, the ticker I was looking at, it needs confirmation, and so does the ETF. But because they're not in alignment, I will probably be careful. All right. Now, thank you for that though. Like I should be checking the ETFs while I do these. And Rivian, I'm almost done. All right, Rivian, I think, has more upside. I like how we had swept those lows. I like more upside on Rivian. It's hourly busy right here. I'm watching this strongly to see if they can take us back to the upside. I don't really want price under the 50% of this hourly busy. Ideally, it can come to it, but I would really prefer if bodies at least can hold it. But ultimately, I want Rivian to use this area in general, just use this area to move higher, because where could it go? Rivian to me can go literally up to here to $28. I don't really see anything stopping it from heading to 28. I need fair value gaps on the weekly though, and look, I'm getting them. So I think it has a powerful move potentially in it. And I think Tesla is on. Yeah, I'm gonna go over Tesla. Tesla is on my watch list. I think I got Tesla might be the last one to. Yeah, I think Tesla is the last one. I got 3 more to show, starting with this one. All right, so Starbucks. I'm gonna make Starbucks quick. Monthly VI. We're rejecting that so far. I want to see continuation down to 68.41 on Starbucks. I set an alert here, just kind of like to 73, because this is when I will watch it. I'm not really interested in anything up here, so like I don't really care what goes on around here. I only want to trade it when it's on its way back down, because I feel like if we come back to here at some point, that means we're gonna run these lows, and if we run these lows, chances are we're gonna run to the 68 level. So I don't care about sniping the top of whatever retracement we're getting right now. I'm just waiting for Starbucks to move to the downside, because most likely when it runs to the downside, it's gonna run there ultra aggressively. So that's why my alert is right there, just to tell me, hey, start looking now. That's why my alert is there. If I don't like what I see, I'm not gonna get in. And by that I mean, if we're moving like this, like really choppily, nastily, I don't want to see that. So, it's like I said, this alert is just to get me to start looking. And Snow weekly SIBI. I think Snow, I have more downside on it. Yeah, on Snow, this is a monthly bearish fair value gap. It's a weekly bearish fair value gap. We're rejecting exactly where I wanted to reject, like to the tick where I wanted to reject is where we're rejecting on Snow. We just invalidated the VI, and so I want to see if we can continue to the downside. For Snow, it's kind of consolidating right here. I have an alert on the low side of this recent candle, because I feel that if we come back and we start moving down, we may end up like moving down pretty quickly. So this is once again when I would start watching Snow, because I think it has potential to move lower. You guys may remember we called a $30 move on Snow already, $30 move, and we took profits at the monthly lowest body. That's where I was telling everyone we should take profits at if you were in Snow puts. All right, cool. It consolidated at the lowest body, and then it moved higher. But that's just most likely a lower high. We'll find out, but so far it might just be a lower high, and we have lower targets, and those lower targets are simply the lows of this entire consolidation. We've been in a crazy consolidation on Snow, so I'm just looking at, are we going to finally take out the lows of the consolidation? We'll find out. That's what those lows are from. I got a low right there, a low right there, and a low right there. All right. As far as ticker requests, I'm gonna do the ticker request after the recording. So the tickers that I suggest will be on the recording. If you're watching this on YouTube, this is why you should join the free community. Because if you have requests and just questions and stuff, I typically do that stuff after I finish recording. So definitely tap in. The link is in the description of this video. For Tesla, what I've seen on Tesla is I'm still aiming for 276.49. All right, we came really close. I told you guys when Tesla loses consolidation, the next place I would have Tesla going is this highest body here on a monthly. Let me move my arrow so you can see clearer. We came really close, but we didn't quite get there. I still think it wants to head to that spot now. So I think the monthly has me going there. This weekly BTSMC, if price happens to tap into this weekly bullish fair value gap, it needs to hold the upper half of it. I wouldn't want to see Tesla come to the lower half of this weekly bullish fair value gap. You notice that, and once again, this is something I drew on Thursday. On Thursday, that's where this arrow comes from. Because on Thursday, I was basically saying I want us to use this BTSMC and VI overlap to take us back to the upside. And so that's pretty much what I want to see on Tesla. I still want to see that. Friday was a nice day. They were up like almost 4% of the point. But we'll see if it can continue on Tesla. We'll see if it continue. I still want to see this area hold until it's invalidated. I have no other analysis on Tesla besides trying to use this area to take us back to the upside. So far, so good. Will it continue to play out? Only time will tell. What else? So yeah, that's Tesla. 276.49 is a target I have for them. Past that, you could just simply target the highs of that actual move, which would be pretty much 299. So this is a safe target for me. You know, anytime I'm aiming for the highest body, that's me being safe. That's me being very safe. So 276.49 highest body. And last but not least for the recording. Oh no, I think that was it. I mean, I don't think I wanted to actually show y'all this because I was like, this is kind of whack to me. I don't even want to talk about it. Just if you really interested in ZIM, ZIM, I was like, this is interesting a little bit. They had a weekly BTSMC. I'm gonna be watching this area to see if we want to take this back to the upside on this ticker. That's all. Yeah, that's all I was seeing. Because as much as it's a weekly BTSMC, you may notice that it's also a monthly. I'm on the monthly now. It's also a monthly BTSMC. So we may use this monthly BTSMC to take us back to the upside, and then you could target the recent highs on a monthly time frame. So that's, like I said, I'm watching this overall area. All right, so that's that. That is so that would, by the way, that will be us sweeping the lows to tap into it. So notice that it moved like this. My bad. Notice that it moved like this. So we will be sweeping these lows to tap into this area, this purple area, to move higher. And when we move higher, we should move higher with fair value gaps. All right. If it doesn't deliver like that, I don't want to play downside. I'm not interested in it. I don't care. There's other tickets I will be trading. So that's all I had as far as my watch list. I'm gonna answer questions now, take requests, and all that stuff. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description for the free community where we talk SMC, we talk everything price action all day, every day. And if you're watching this before July 21st, you're still valid to join my mentorship. But once July 21st comes, it's over with. That cohort is done, and I'm not running another mentorship until December at least. So you definitely want to get in now. We just got started a few days ago. So that being said, I'm gonna holla at y'all. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel, like the video, and that's all she wrote.